Listen to your favorite shows live and on demand 24/7. Download the 77 WABC mobile app now. A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
We have with us now former UN Ambassador John Bolton joins us now here on Katz and Cosby. Ambassador Bolton, let's get first to this enormous news of this hostage swap that took place with the Biden administration. For Evan Gershkovich, famous Wall Street Journal reporter, and also Paul Whelan, former Marine. I'm so glad. I'll tell you, I cried when I heard that they were coming home. But obviously, you got to wonder, what did Russian get in return, and what is Putin up to?
Right. Well, look, for the families, for the former kidnapped victims, which is what they were before and now released, and their families. You can't wish anything but the best. It's a very, very happy moment. From the U.S. perspective, though, this is not a terribly good deal. We have exchanged 3 completely innocent Americans for convicted murderers, KGB agents, and other people that Vladimir Putin very much wanted back in Russia. And you know, I'm still going through the numbers of people released. Basically, 8 prisoners, including the KGB agent who had been convicted of murder in Germany. 8 Russians returned, 3 Americans released by Russia, and then 13 other prisoners released by Russia, of whom 7 are Russian dissidents being exiled from Russia, in effect. And 3 are joint German-Russian citizens, a total of, and 3 other German citizens. So 6 Germans, 3 of whom are also Russian citizens, in effect, those being exiled as well. So Germany got, because Germany was holding the Vadim Krasikov, the KGB agent that Putin most wanted, they got a lot of people out from their perspective. But I think the big winner here is Putin and the Russians, and also the loss, once again, of the principle articulated by Ronald Reagan that you don't trade hostages for hostages, because every time you do it, you put a price on an American's head.
We have the Wall Street Journal gentleman coming on, and right after you, Ambassador. And the first question I'm going to ask him is, are you sending more Wall Street Journal reporters to Moscow?
Yeah, look, this is criminal behavior by the Russians, but it's the sort of thing the Iranians do. It feeds into terrorist groups who see that in the Biden administration, more than any other in recent history, we've been willing to swap bodies for bodies, and that tells anybody that has a problem. If you want to help solve it, grab some Americans. And let me just also point out, at least by, I think it's the count in several media sources, there are still 8 Americans held in Russia. So we got 3 out. That's great, but 8 more are still there. And if Putin needs more bargaining chips, a few more people, innocent people in Russia for whatever reason, are very vulnerable. And it's a signal around the world. The Biden administration's in the bazaar. They're ready to trade. That's not what Ronald Reagan did.
Yeah, absolutely. Judge Weinberg.
Mr. Ambassador, good to talk to you again. But I'm deeply troubled by these hostage grabs and the paying, whether you pay in bodies or you pay in cash. And I think one of the big mistakes the Israelis made, for one soldier, they gave in excess of 1,000 people, some of whom were the plotters and the schemers for the October 7th attack. You pay a real price, whether in the present or in the future, by allowing this to go on. What are your thoughts?
No, I think that's exactly right. I mean, when a government like Russia kidnaps an American and puts them in jail, the signal ought to be you don't get back into civilized society internationally until that person is released. And economic sanctions are possible. Let me just say here, I think we need real economic sanctions. I think we need to take the sanctions function away from the Treasury Department and put it in the Defense Department, where they know how to wage that kind of campaign. Sanctions are announced, politicians say they're great, and then they're just not enforced effectively. So we've got to make the sanctions bite harder. And with that, anybody who thinks that snatching Americans is going to be good for them, they need to understand Our price to exchange for an American is zero. You comply or you're going to feel pain. That's the transaction.
Yeah, and they didn't hear that today. Ed Cox.
Yeah, look, that's the only way we got the POWs home from Vietnam, by ordering the December bombing that bombed right near the homes of the leaders of North Vietnam. They said, okay, we'll return your prisoners, and we got them back. I mean, in the end, it's only force that does. And this shows that the Biden administration thinks politically. It's all about having the warm homecoming and the celebration and all that. They're going to play that up. And this is a time when they need that little political lift for Harris.
Well, it's certainly convenient timing, and a real coincidence is just a few weeks before the Democratic convention. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
By the way, my father was a prisoner of war, as you may know, Ambassador Bolton. And so I am delighted to see that they are coming home. But to the point, they need to feel strength. And here, I just heard our President Biden, just a little bit ago, was asked, what's your message to abductee nations, to these people that are taking Americans? And his response was, well, Americans shouldn't be traveling to these countries. And reporters were kind of looking stunned. They were waiting for him to say, don't you ever touch the hair of an American. How dangerous is that, hearing that message? It sounds very weak today.
Well, I think it is. And I think if you're in Iran, or if you're a terrorist proxy of Iran or a terrorist group anywhere in the world, you know that the cost of that blue passport that Americans carry is something that is very valuable to you. And let me just emphasize also, what happened today is very different than exchanges of prisoners of war where you're trading like for like, or spy exchanges like the ones at the Glencoe Bridge during the Cold War, spy for spy. This is an innocent American reporter and two others for convicted criminals. And it shows that what it gives Putin is not just getting these people back and perhaps protected from further interrogation. It's saying to his killers and thugs, if you go out on assignment by the Russian Federation, we will never forget. We will get you back. So it emboldens people that we don't want to give them any more incentive than they already have, and yet that's what we just did.
Yeah, no question about it. Before I let you go, what a juxtaposition from the way Israel's been handling things of late. I mean, Israel's been going after, so far we're hearing they've taken out 4 now major leaders, with Hamas, Hezbollah, and also the Iran Revolutionary Guard. That's extraordinary. And yet we're sort of looking like we're bystanders, if you will.
Yeah, it's a magnificent operation by Israel, particularly to kill Ismail Haniyeh, the Hamas political leader, in a supposedly secure compound in Tehran. And what a signal that sends to all of Tehran's terrorist proxies that you're not even safe in the capital city. So we'll see what Iran does in response here. But I hope if they do something significant, it certainly sounds like they're going to. That's what they're boasting they're going to do. This time, Israel should not respond the way the White House insisted it did when 320 drones and missiles were fired against Israel. This time, it's Iran that needs to feel pain. That is the only language they understand.
Yeah, that is true. Wow. Well, thank you so much. Ambassador John Bolton, we so appreciate you being here on such a big, busy news day. Thank you.
Glad to be with you.
Janine Pirro here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history, physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Pirro for your free Janine Pirro Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit, or call 800-965-8004. 800-965-8004 now to receive a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.